are the 49ers too deep on the defensive line? It seems like they're 13 or 14 deep of NFL defensive linemen, guys who are going to end up on someone's roster.
I think they are. I think they're too deep on the defensive line. I know people are watching this going scoffing. Oh my God, that's the dumbest comment of all time. You can never be, you can never be too deep on the defensive line. I get that, but get this. There's a 53-man roster, and you're going to have to cut that thing down. So when I say too deep, I mean they're not going to go to the finish line on cutdown day with 4 lines of defensive linemen. They're not, because you can't have them all on the roster. So I say between now and that cut down, an Ebukam, a Menahue, or somebody who's not starting is going to get dealt for a day 3 pick this summer before the cut down.
I think,
or maybe at the cut down.
I think it's going to be Ebukam. They say like $8 million if they get rid of him. And while he's good, he's not $8 million good. And it seems like they may have needed him last year because D Ford wasn't available, but now they have Drake Jackson, Kemoko Toure, Kerry Hyder. Like they got 3 guys.
Menahue, Charles, they got Jordan Willis, they got Alex Barrett. I mean, they got guys.
It's by far the deepest position on the team, D end, and they need $8 million. They don't have $750,000 in cap space. They can't sign their free agents. They can't give Deebo Samuel a signing bonus. So yeah, Ebukam, not looking good.
And a jumbo payment in year 2 for Ebukam. So they kind of structured this deal almost like they were either going to redo his deal or cut him loose.
Yeah, they got to see if anyone wants Ebukam at his price. If not, they might cut him. Sorry, Samson. It's not your fault. Yeah. It's numbers game. But once they signed Kemoko Toure and drafted Drake Jackson, it was bad news. You should have seen it coming.
They are going. My guess is, Grant, they're going to play Ebukam in some sack favorable spots in the first couple preseason games. Hope he can free himself up for a couple of cheap sacks, and then pawn him off to one of the 25 teams in the league that's looking for more pass rush, maybe for a 6th-round pick.
You still think the Niners get rid of Jimmy Garoppolo before training camp, right?
I do. I do not think. To me, the line of demarcation is: does he put a uniform on and take the field? And I just do not think it's going to happen. I'll be shocked if it does.
I hope it does. Please. Regular Ryan, Mac wasn't even in the top 20 in mocks until the trade for number 3, and then drunken 100 mil made things worse. Yeah, the drunken 100 mil made things worse. I think I made things worse. I was really riling up the fan base, but not just me. I mean, the fans were terrified that he was going to be the pick, which is funny. A lot of people wanted Justin Fields, and I think it's pretty clear that Mac Jones is better than Justin Fields. Although I won't even say that. They're not helping him at all. What is with the Bears? It's like they haven't noticed that in the last 50 years it's become an offensive quarterback-driven league, and they're like, we'll get a quarterback and we'll help him by getting defense. Like, no, it never works for you. Why do you do that why do you draft these guys? It's terrible, man. It's terrible.
I'll tell you this about Fields. That throw that he made in the end zone against the Niners showed incredible accuracy. As far as Jones, I think when that picture surfaced of his 45-year-old man body, I think that where people were like, you're going to take this guy over Justin Fields, Trey Lance? No way, no how.
Yeah, pretty much. Ezio Sanchez says Lance will have a higher completion percentage than Jimmy. Lance only played 2.5 games. He's being judged too hard. Who knows?
I agree with that. I don't think he should be. I think he's being way scrutinized.
I know. And it's because of the trade. It's like, if you go back and look, Trevor Lawrence was pretty not good last year at Jacksonville, but no one talks about it because why would you scrutinize a young player on a bad team? Okay.
Well, how about Zach Wilson, Grant? I mean, he had 2 years last year. The first year, he looked terrible. He got his butt kicked. He was running for his life. He looked like a bust. They were openly discussing it in the tabloids. The last 2 months of the year, he had like 1 turnover, and he played on a totally different level. And now now he's the second coming, and they've got great hope for him. So it's, he had that opportunity to play, fail, and then try again and succeed. Will the Niners allow that to happen this year? Will they give him that kind of wide berth?
Can't wait to see. Ninth Wonder Comics says Trey will force defenses to play 11 on 10 football. We'll say 11 on 11. That alone will make this offense a lot better than last year. Played 10 on 11 versus Jimmy. Big difference. Yeah, I think their run game is going to be better this year. I think they're going to run more. I think their yards per carry is going to go up. That's a good thing.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, anybody who knows defensive football knows if you got a quarterback who can run, that's one more guy you got to account for in the run game. That's one more option. I'm looking forward to seeing Trey going one way and maybe a guy like Danny Gray going the other way on some of these handoffs. And you know what? You got a 4-3 guy and you got a quarterback with mobility and you make the call, you pick up the mesh point, you find the football. I think it's going to be very challenging for defenses.
This is a team that could average 5 yards a carry. This is a team that could rush for 3,000 yards. I think that's going to be some of the goals for the 49ers. I don't think they're going to pass very much. Because even Trey Lance, what's interesting about him, even in college, he didn't throw that much. He would have games where he'd have 12, 15, 18 attempts. He's fine playing that way. Kind of like Jimmy. It's fine playing.
Yeah. Except Jimmy with a bigger arm and Jimmy with a guy who takes better care of the football. The other thing I saw when I watched Trey that I never saw with Jimmy is that Trey doesn't make the same mistake over and over and over again. Jimmy often did. Almost every one of his picks was late in the down, over the middle, floating into coverage. I mean, he made that mistake 15 times.
What was so remarkable about Trey Lance in that season at North Dakota State is he essentially played mistake-free football. You rarely see that. Will it translate? We'll see. I mean, it didn't necessarily translate his rookie year, but we'll see. That's how he likes to play. He's a game manager at heart. It's kind of nice.
Yeah.
Darius Ali says, AZ game, Trey had dimes dropped by Debo, Sanu, etc. That game was such a cluster. I don't know what the Niners were trying to do that week. I don't know what the hell that was.
Worst plan of all time.
Chris Murphy says underwhelmed smokescreen by officials to help trade. Why would you call up Matt Lombardo if you needed a smokescreen? Like, who is Matt? I don't know. I don't think so.
Well, your video on Matt Lombardo was spot on as well. I saw that video. Basically, Lombardo's information was secondhand information, and it was dated.
Old. Yeah. It's like, thanks for telling us now.
Right.
David W. says, who do you predict will be the starting cornerbacks? Thomas opposite Ward. Can Lenore play nickel? I'm thinking Ward and Mosley outside and inside. Maybe Lenore, maybe Womack. What do you think?
I'm thinking Thomas and Ward outside and Mosley inside. That's what I'm thinking.
Interesting.
Ambry and Charvarius on the outside, Mosley on the inside. I do think Lenore is going to be a whole lot better, though.
Gammon Brown says, kudos to you, Grant, on the fan trolling topics. LOL. Thanks. Aaron Navarro says, going from 3 Pro Bowl offensive linemen to 1 is very concerning. Yes, absolutely. And that's essentially what the Niners are doing. I don't really know if Alex Mack is coming back. It's May 11th and they still haven't found out. That doesn't sound promising. And they're talking about Nick Zakelj playing center. Great. Yeah, do that. Have a guy who's never played center start at center this year. That sounds great.
Yeah, and I like Zakelj, but I mean, that's a projection. And also, we haven't even discussed the fact he played at Fordham. He wasn't playing for Mississippi State in the SEC. He's playing for Fordham. But he's tough and smart. There's no doubt about that. Makes him a good prospect. I think their O-line picks were great for future depth, but lousy if you're looking for a plug-and-play guy.
They didn't need a plug-and-play center. They have Jake Brendel.
There you go.
They mentioned him 3 or 4 times in the press conferences after the draft. It's like, who the hell is Jake Brendel? No, he went to UCLA. I'm sorry, Jake. I know you're a great player.